In this video, we're going to be talking about where I've been, what I've been up to, the vision for the channel going forward, and a very exciting announcement where I'm going to be launching a video podcast in a few months. So first off, I just want to apologize. I haven't been on here in the last few months. There's been a lot that's changed. As you're probably noticing, I'm recording in a different location. So let's talk about where I've been and fill you guys in. So first off, when I was working on that Jira series, that personal portfolio project that I was working on, I definitely was trying to get that done before leaving for Hawaii in October because I knew when I was going to come back, I was starting a new boot camp and that was going to kind of tie me down. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And well, things played out the way I thought it could happen. And that is that, well, the design system boot camp I was in took a lot of my free time and didn't give me a chance to record. And then once I had finished that boot camp, I went over to Austin, Texas with my wife, and we started looking at homes, and we purchased a home. And so now the home's getting built. We had to move out of Portland over here back to Los Angeles, which is where I'm recording. And it's just been a lot to juggle. On top of that, I recently got promoted at my job. So now I'm a product designer 3. And so with that, a lot of responsibilities have come my way. And I'm building out a design system, all sorts of stuff. And the other thing is I really wanted to make sure before I came back, I had an understanding, and that's where we're going to talk about the vision of where I wanted to take the channel. So I've been kind of balancing a lot, and I wanted to make sure when I came back that I was back for good. So today we're going to be talking about that. So one thing I really want to clarify is I know that I've been kind of like posting nonchalantly every now and again. That's not going to be the case going forward. I really have an understanding of what I want to do with this channel and how I want to make an impact in this industry long term. And so with that said, I plan and will record every single week, and you're going to see a video every single week going forward. Now, before we talk about the big announcement with the podcast and the vision, make sure to like and subscribe because this channel is going to blow up. See this as an opportunity to kind of get in early, right? Like you have a chance. I know when I follow people on YouTube and I'm like one of the first to subscribe, it's kind of a cool feeling because you've been there throughout the story, throughout the journey. And really, this is all about you, right? I'm creating this content to make you better. So if you are interested in becoming a product designer or you're trying to grow, that's why I'm here. So make sure to subscribe. All right, so I've been away for a few months, and that's gotten me to do a lot of thinking. I've done a lot of brainstorming around where I want to take this channel going forward. And I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil it all, but what I'll say is this. The vision for this channel going forward is to help train and mentor aspiring product designers, to help you guys land jobs and ultimately help you guys build amazing intuitive products. I want to make sure that this YouTube channel is the place to go when it comes to learning all things product design. And we're going to talk about how this is going to play out over the next few months, but the first step is launching this podcast. So let's talk about what content's coming down the pike. First off, I'm going to stop that Jira project. I think I'm going to just leave it as a UX personal portfolio project, and I think I'll leave it at that. I found some good usability issues, and I'm happy with where it's at. What we're going to be doing next is picking up the portfolio, and we're going to start to design that portfolio out. I'm also going to be doing a couple of UI redesign portfolio concept projects that I'm going to be adding, and I'm going to be walking you through how I do portfolio design research, how I design my portfolio, adding a couple of UI redesign portfolio projects, and then just kind of showing you guys how I built out my portfolio. So that'll be the first step. So we'll be able to finish all of the portfolio series by the end of April. That'll be perfect for me. I'll have hopefully moved into my house by then. And then from there, we're going to start doing 2 different types of content every other week. So I'll be posting every week. The first type of content is I'm going to be answering one specific question that I get often from people in my mentorship meetings when I'm meeting with you guys one-on-one. I really want to make sure that these sorts of videos answer questions that I'm getting often, and I feel like that you should know and kind of have an understanding about. So we're going to be talking about all sorts of things from what does a product designer do to should I hire a mentor, all sorts of things, right? To help you get into the industry. And if you haven't guessed already, the other type of content is going to be a video podcast. And I'm very, very excited to announce this. I'm going to be launching this on May 23rd. So in the meantime, we're going to be doing some videos in the early stages of May, back-to-back questions, sort of leading into the podcast because I'm still booking those podcasts, and I want to make sure that I have enough runway to get some recorded and not feel rushed to just continue to create podcasts last second. So building up that runway now, and let's talk about this podcast and who I'm going to be interviewing and what you can sort of expect. Before I get into who I'm going to be interviewing, let me tell you about why I'm doing the podcast. So I've been looking for a product design podcast out there and I just haven't found it. And I really want to find a podcast that's going to bring the product design community together, or UX UI designers together, right? Ultimately, what I want it to be is a place for you to learn from those that have been there, or even people that are just sort of like a step ahead of you. So the first people we're going to be interviewing are recently hired bootcamp grads. We're going to talk about their bootcamp experience, why they chose the bootcamp that they did, some highlights, some lowlights from that bootcamp. We're going to talk about what they did to get hired, their background and their story, so that way you can sort of see if you align or relate to that story, and then ultimately how that job's going. Do they feel prepared for the job that they're doing based on the boot camp that they went to? And we're going to just kind of get into all things boot camp grads and getting hired, right? The second people we're going to be interviewing are hiring managers. So people that are hiring product designers out of boot camps or out of college. I'm actually doing this as well, so I'll be sharing some tips in the other videos, like I said, on those one-off questions, but we're going to really dig in, and I'm going to interview these product design hiring managers and try to understand what are the things that they look for. How do they know what a good portfolio is? Like, what do they look for in a good portfolio, right? What are the different interviewing tips that they have, or questions that they often ask? So you can start to think about those things and be prepared going into any of those product design interviews that you might find yourself in. The third group of people that we're going to be interviewing are product design mentors. So these are going to be people that are generally going to be mentoring people in boot camps, and we're going to talk about their success stories, things that they've kind of taught their mentees, and just kind of break down like what makes a good mentee, what makes a good mentor, and kind of talk about the relationship that they have. That way you can understand, if you're looking for a mentor, things that you need when you're considering getting a mentor, right? The next people that we're going to be interviewing are top tier level product designers, and we're going to go into their case studies. We're going to go into what makes them work well, working in remote environments, how they got hired, all sorts of stuff, right? You can definitely help dictate what questions you want to get asked. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to leave it in the comments. Let me know what questions and information that you'd love to see in this podcast, and I'll make sure to ask these people. That way you guys can be prepared and make sure that you get into the industry, or make sure you grow into the industry, right? And what's great about it being a video podcast is that we're actually going to be able to do potentially like design exercises and kind of show you into how we think as product designers, and I'm just very excited about the possibilities there with it being a video podcast. It's going to be kind of hosted on something like Zoom, so it'll be very like natural to what you would be doing working with another product designer in a real world example or real world experience. So if you're not already, like I said, make sure to subscribe. That podcast content's going to be great. It's going to be coming every other week starting in May 23rd, and it's not going to stop. There's going to be no breaks. I'm just going to keep doing interviews. So if there are people that you want to hear me interview, let me know. Leave them in the comments. You can send me an email, add me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure to reach out. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Next week, we're going to be talking about the portfolio design research that I'm doing, and kind of show you how I would go about doing research for yourself, for your own project. And remember, it takes 10,000 hours to master a craft. So what are you guys working on today?